And we're back.
Bachelor.
Just got finished watching episode 6, I believe, of The Bachelor. Very interesting episode.
One of the better episodes they've had so far.
It was a little bit more suspenseful this time as well.
Yep. A lot of stuff to get into. Let's get into some meat and potatoes, man.
All right, so it starts off with the rose ceremony from the previous episode because they didn't fit it in. Basically, Onyeka and Nicole were fighting last episode, and because of all of their tiffs and, frustrating Colton, he decided to just cut them both off for that rose ceremony.
Because that was the same episode where Elise decided to go home.
Yeah.
So he had no more time for the BS, and that's all they were bringing.
Right.
But after he eliminates those two, they head to Vietnam. Drift fast and furious.
All right, so the highlights from Vietnam. Let's talk about some of the 1v1s.
Hannah G got the first one.
And then Kirpa got the second one. Hannah G's 1v1.
I didn't like it. Hannah G's, it was a lot of making out, not a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Very physical.
What we would call a shallow 1v1.
Yeah,
very physical. They had a massage.
They made out during the massage.
They had a mud bath.
Made out during the mud bath.
What else?
Shower
after the mud bath.
Made out in the mud bath, and Colton grabbed booty too.
Oh yeah, all the time. So that's what he does there with her.
Yep.
Nothing serious. They talked a little bit about her parents had a divorce. His parents are also divorced, so they had a kind of bonding moment there. But outside of that, it was not much went on there.
Yeah, not a lot. Kind of fluffy.
Let's go to the group date before Kirpa.
First of all, terrible group date idea from Colton.
Yeah.
Why would you take these pretty young things to I'm going to call it a stunt course, where you're flipping around, punching things, using bow staffs? That's clearly not in their demographic.
Yeah, so they got to the location, and then Colton did this little choreographed fight with some of the instructors there. Pow, pow, pow. And then they had like a short training session with all the women,
which was also
doing bow staff stuff and whatnot with each other. And then after that, the final thing was they paired each other up to fight against each other on this mat.
And somebody got beat down.
And it did not go well. First off, most of them were just doing this.
Yeah, even the commentators were like, this is a terrible display.
Yeah.
Until we get to Demi. Who was? I don't even think I remember.
Demi
who she was
fought.
It was one
Katie or Tasia?
Yeah, Katie.
Katie or Tasia.
Either
one. Yeah, Katie. Yeah, it was Katie.
It was Katie.
So Demi was fighting Katie,
and it's important to note that before the fight happened, Demi was mad and she was like, "I'm gonna take out all my aggression right here," and then she gets beat down.
She gets beat down. Nothing serious. No black eyes, but she got hit in the face a couple times. Katie got a few gut punches in there.
She changed her tune quick, like, I can fight with my words all day, but I can't actually fight.
She got angry during the fight. You could tell. You could hear it. She started cussing.
She couldn't do nothing because she can't fight.
So yeah, she was getting angry without that. So overall, it was a weird group date.
Terrible idea, Colton. By the way, I hate Colton. For now, it may change.
So after the group date, was the Tasia thing after the group date?
Yeah, it was after that group date. You have your group sit down where you kind of sipping champagne and Colton gets one-on-ones with him.
Yeah.
Brief little talks, and he talks with Tasia. I forget what they talk about, but it sounded important. Like
it was a happy there were a lot of sad conversations this episode.
Yeah.
Tasia had a happy conversation with him where they were smiling and having a good time and feeling good about each other.
Yeah.
So at the end of the group date, Tasia ended up getting the rose for the group date. And so that's that.
But also, before Tasia got the rose, Katie did get some one-on-one time with
Katie? Who's Katie?
Surprise.
So, yeah.
Katie was the no-name that showed up today.
She showed up today.
And she talked to Colton pretty much saying, like, I don't want you to think I'm not trying. I just have walls, but I don't want to get home for not trying. I want you to know I'm legit trying.
But if you're following along, you know she's not been trying.
Because we've never seen her until this episode.
Don't ever see her.
So Colton's kind of just like, I know you're trying.
She makes her case, tries to make her case. They end up hugging at the end of the conversation.
No kiss.
No kiss. A few other people talk as well during the group date.
But the rest of it, Hannah B's was kind of important.
Yeah.
Because that was when Tasia and Katie started hating.
Right. So
she was on the beach doing that.
Right. Because Hannah B and Colton during the group date, afterwards when they're talking, they didn't have the traditional like sit down, lovey-dovey talk session. They were like having fun on the beach. Hannah had her bow staff they were playing with from the group date, and they were just kind of laughing it up.
Katie and Tasia were hating like, how can he keep doing this?
They were jealous.
Yeah.
They were talking about the attention that she was getting and them having fun. They're like, why are they doing this stuff on the beach?
Exactly.
But they're just having a good time. You know?
Just being young and wild and free.
Yeah.
But like he said, at the end of the day, Tayshia got the group rose.
Right, which leads us to the next thing.
This was sad.
Whew.
Demi tried to take her fate into her own hands.
So Demi was getting upset. A lot of the women were getting upset that they weren't getting enough time with Colton. I mean, obviously, no one's getting a lot of time
to spread around.
But they're all getting upset, sort of. But Demi more so, she was getting really upset about not having a lot of time, even though she's had a lot of time with him in the past.
She's had the most time out of all.
In fact, during this episode, our opinion of her was she was up here on his list. She was fine.
Y'all know I was ride or die for Demi.
She was clean. She was good to go. But obviously they're insecure, a lot of women, things like that. So she decides she's gonna go up to him after dark,
Professor Love,
and take his V card.
Professor Love first,
but she
didn't try to take.
She wanted to, so she goes into his room, his private quarters. They have a good conversation, and she pretty much tells him all of this, minus the V card thing. Tells him how she feels and how she wants to progress in the relationship and all of that.
She did mention she wants to, she said something along the lines of getting physical. She wants to physically
like give him more, like more of a relationship.
Yeah. Bodies connecting.
And then Donnie, what happened next?
That's when my admiration for Colton reached a new high. He told her along these same lines, I appreciate what you're doing and I see where you're at. I'm not there. And for you to feel that way and me not to feel that way, I gotta send you home. He sends that thotty packet out the door. THOT-B-Gone. I banish you. You will not get this V card.
Yep. It was tough though, because she laid it all out there. She was serious. She was bearing her soul, and then he just.
But
pow!
I respect Colton for doing that.
Right.
Like, it's weird because they haven't. If you think about it, they haven't really spent that much time together. So for her to be like, I love you, I want to get this physical connection. Clearly, after Sydney, this was after Sydney went home.
After Sydney went home.
After Sydney went home and those thoughts in his mind, he was kind of seeing like, this seems to be like, it's more so for the game. We haven't really talked that much for you to love me, and I'm not getting there. So you need to just go home now before this gets way
right.
too
He
high.
started to understand more that
it's a game to some people.
It's a game to some people, and he needs to. Actually, one thing that Sydney said before she left was that he needed to not get so distracted by the shiny things.
Ooh, piece of candy.
So
yeah, I'm proud of him for sending. And Demi would have been fine if she didn't go up to his headquarters. She would have lasted more episodes.
Safe.
She tried to take Destiny into her own hands, and that's what he calls his penis, Destiny. It didn't work out, and she got sent home. So that's her own fault. THOT-B-Gone.
She would have been safe. She would have been safe, but she just had to say something.
And
blah.
Following Demi's untimely demise, they announced there's no cocktail party. They're just going straight into a rose ceremony.
Right. Because they usually have one last chance to get together and talk if they need anything or say anything.
Colton's tired of second chances.
He's done. No more games.
This is his livelihood at stake. He's looking for a wife out of this.
Yep.
And you know who's not going to be his wife? Tell him who's not going to be his wife.
You know who's not going to be his wife, Donnie? Katie. Who?
Not a chance. Oh, you're still here.
So
Eggs.
They went to the rose ceremony, and then Katie was the last man out on that one.
I mean,
understandably.
She even said she knew it was coming by his body language.
Yeah, I mean,
she mentioned that she had walls up, but she had so much to give. But in Colton's defense, he doesn't have time to break down these walls.
Right.
He has like 7 other girls he has to fight with to see where his heart is. If you're not willingly offering up that information so he can get to know you better, you have to go.
Right.
This is your job to get him to like you, not the opposite.
Right.
You didn't do your job quick enough, so I don't feel bad that you got sent home.
Right. So she was telling him as they were leaving, as he was walking her out to the car or whatever, she was saying that she has more, and he's like, I know you have more, but like Donnie said, there's no time.
He's on the clock.
He knows that she has more. We all know that. But by this point, it should have already been done.
Yeah, the
she
cameras didn't even
she
see
should
anything.
already be there. So he can only do so much.
Yeah, he's one man who I hated at the start of this episode, but I respect a little more by the end of the episode.
Right.
He made all the right decisions this episode.
He's good. We're good now. I'm good with him.
Except for Hannah G. He made terrible decisions with her.
Yeah, she's a piece of candy.
But all the girls that got eliminated, pretty much, except, well, even Demi, they gave him good advice.
Right, they all had something to say, and it was all very similar.
They all mentioned that there's some girls that's not here to be engaged, which terrifies him, and that he needs to keep focused on the real ones.
Yeah.
The real ones keep leaving him, though.
Right. So they all gave him that advice, and it's good advice, and I think it's really starting to sink in for him.
It was.
That there are pieces of candy, and there are pieces of meat.
You need the meat. He needs meat.
So in the upcoming episodes, the previews look pretty juicy. So
I think he loses his V card next episode. We'll see.
We will see.
He did mention that, he's not saving his virginity for religious reasons. He's just waiting for the right person. So
right.
One of these girls can take it. It's up for grabs if he feels it.
We forgot Kirpa's one-on-one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, Kirpa had a really nice one. Let's backtrack a little bit before we
Kirpa had a nice one-on-one. They went snorkeling.
Yep, and they killed some innocent sea urchins.
They had very good casual conversation.
The best I've seen out of any of them.
Just very natural.
Like a real
because we haven't seen
blooming.
a lot of Kirpa, so we didn't really know what to expect.
It looks like a real honest relationship's blooming. Not for show.
Yeah, very honest.
It's organic.
Yeah, during their eating time, during their like calm points during the one-on-one, they had a conversation.
It was never stale.
Right, never stale. Colton even asked her like, if Kirpa gets to the end, would she be willing to get engaged and move forward? So he even brought it up, like he's thinking about her as a real option, and she said
it's important.
But she made sure to tell him that she is.
Progress.
But as long as they keep making those progressions,
Colton doesn't take her on some more dates, she's out of here too.
But that was a good conversation because that's kind of similar to what me and my wife did. We had a serious conversation about where we're at, and what we wanted from the future. So it really hit home with me. So I really like Kirpa now. Yeah, I didn't know her before because she was nobody. But now,
she seems
good.
okay now. She's cool. She's in my good graces.
Yeah.
We don't have any more no-names. Proud to say that.
No more no-names. We all know
Heather
people
is the closest no-name we have.
Right. She's the bottom right now. Yeah. But the previews for the next one show Colton having another breakdown.
But he's in a fantasy suite too.
Right. So there's a fantasy suite option next episode. The
lights go out.
They show him breaking down, jumping over the wall, crying. Running everyone's freaking out.
Even the host dude is like, "Well, what do we do?"
So it's gonna be a good one.
Gonna be very interesting.
So make sure you tune in. Again, I don't know if we're streaming live next Monday for it, but we will be streaming the episode
for sure, 100%. So. Don't forget to comment down below. Who do you think's gonna win? Who do you think's going home next week? Chat it up with us because we in there. We in these comments.
Yeah, let us know what you think. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is
like, share, subscribe. But that's second most important too.
Right? The most important thing is never forget your phone,
your wallet,
or your games.
Yeah.